What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another episode of the Occasional Dilemma Gaming Podcast. I am your host, Stando, and today I am joined with a few guys. One of them's AFK right now. I think he's went to go smoke. We'll say hi to him last. First, let's say hi to Tech Gladiator. What's up, Tech Gladiator?
Did you notice that in the player lobby that everybody kind of sways, like their random ambient swaying is like all totally in sync?
Oh, really?
Almost like they're doing a sway dance.
No, I didn't notice. But how you doing?
I'm good. I started watching Stranger Things.
Stranger Things. Season 1 or season 2?
What happens to Stranger Things?
Season 1. I only got 2 more episodes of season 1 to watch.
Okay, cool. Played some PUBG with us today. What'd you think of PUBG?
Cool.
Cool.
I like it a lot.
Been playing anything else?
I haven't really had time to play anything else.
Not anytime. Anytime? Not just a little bit of time? Squeak out some Skyrim or something?
Nope.
Let me
Because my last day of class was this week, and my project's due Friday at noon. I got it done though.
Oh, okay.
And then I'm starting to learn Java. My job I'm starting December.
Okay, cool. Tilgarpole.
Yes,
What's up with you, man? How you doing?
I am doing good.
Fantastic. And you've been playing an assortment of games this week. Are you getting bored with The Witcher 3? Because I noticed you haven't been playing it as much this week.
Well, I'm into the DLCs now in The Witcher 3.
Okay, so you beat the main quest? Beat the main
Beat the
story?
main quest, yeah.
What did you think?
Yeah. I thought it was pretty cool. But, there's so much to do that you have to take a break every so often.
Spoiler, a minor spoiler alert for Witcher 3. What did you think about the dimensional shifts towards the end? Without saying too much else about it.
I thought it was pretty good. They give, hints of what other world she visited.
It also gives a hint that universe runs parallel to our universe.
Uh-huh.
It could run parallel to future games in their titles. You know what I mean? Like Cyberpunk 2077 is coming out pretty soon. But yeah.
Spoilers.
Well, sorry. That game's been out since 2015.
And not only that, I think there's multiple endings to that game.
Oh yeah, there are. There's several multiple endings. Another thing.
There's several multiple endings.
Yeah.
So there's not just one multiple ending. There's a bunch of multiple endings.
There's
so
like 3 or 4. Yeah.
I think it.
You used to get what I was messing with you about there, right?
Yeah.
Stays a nation or Dennis stays a nation. I think whether Ciri becomes a Witcher, Empress, or something else,
the game or
dies.
No,
you guys all
we're
still in the game?
watching.
I'm
No,
not in the game.
we're not in the game.
Because I'm still in the game, and it shows the whole team here still.
Oh,
But
I didn't leave team when I exited the game.
yeah.
My bad.
I know. I just came back and I'm looking at your stream and seeing.
Oh no, this was earlier. Tilgar, you've also been playing some Shadowrun, and that's an RPG. Is that an RPG?
Yeah, it's an RPG.
Okay.
Shadowrun?
Yeah, over the shoulder.
How's
Well,
it?
not over the shoulder. It's isometric.
Okay. How's it?
I like it. It's pretty
Isometric, like the Fallout,
Yeah,
the
like
old
the
Fallout
old
series.
Fallouts.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
Fallout series, or like the Dungeons and Dragons series.
And I seen you playing a little bit of that too, some Dungeon and Dragon Online, and
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, D&D online, I just updated.
Oh, okay, got you. The Raging Sins is here. His first appearance on the Occasional Dilemma Gaming Podcast. How are you?
Hi, I'm great.
And you've been playing you've been like me and playing a lot of Assassin's Creed Origins?
Oh, I fucking love it, dude.
Yeah.
How much money have you spent in it?
We're talking to
$15.
one of the whales.
How much?
Only $15.
Only 15? Okay.
Yeah, that was just because they came out with this new pack. It's the Abyssal, or you get this cool horse. It's like a on fire. It's like a horse from hell.
Everybody didn't know this is why we have microtransactions.
Everybody know.
YouTube videos.
Everybody know that the Raging Sins is the one one of the ones you hate.
Okay, I'll say this.
Was
Any
he one of the
micro.
whales you're talking about, Stan?
Yeah, he is.
Let me say this: any microtransaction that helps you progress the game or helps you speed up how you progress the game, I think is retarded. I will never buy one of those ever in my life.
Okay.
Cosmetics, I've bought a couple in my time just because I like how they look, especially when we be playing a game for a long time.
A couple.
And I got like for Elite, I've bought some cosmetics.
But yeah, anything that speeds up the game or unlocks stuff for you that you would normally have to earn, I think those are dumb.
Okay.
It defeats the purpose of playing the game.
I don't even waste money on cosmetics.
What do you think about the intentional adding of the grind in order to make players feel more enticed to purchase microtransactions? Sins. I know how everybody else feels. I'm talking to Sins specifically.
I'm sorry, say that again about the.
Describe Star Wars.
What do you think about the what do you think about the additional grind added to games to make the player feel more enticed to buy the progression microtransaction?
Like the grind is only there to try to get.
No, I mean I
to
think.
not have to do the grind.
No, I think like I said, if it's gonna progress your game and it's gonna make you want to buy a microtransaction, it's stupid.
Okay. Cool. If you didn't know, ladies and gentlemen, the Occasional Dilemma Gaming Podcast airs live every Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you're listening on audio or on YouTube, I invite you to come and participate in the live conversation. Remember, I do only read comments that are during the podcast. I only read comments that go along with some of the topics that we're talking about. But yeah, we're more than glad to have you offer your feedback to the topics at hand. And if you don't have time to watch it on Twitch, remember you can watch it over at our website, occasionaldilemma.com/podcast. You'll find it there. Also, if you want to take it with you on the go, you'll find the Podomatic MP3 download in the same place. And if you want to make sure that you never miss an episode of the Occasional Dilemma Gaming Podcast, don't forget to subscribe to us on YouTube, youtube.com/Occasional Dilemma Gaming. Whoo! All right, guys, we have a few items to get through today. We are going to start off a long story, and I'm going to probably explain this Star Wars controversial mess. It seems like we can't go a week or a few weeks without somebody talking about Star Wars. Actually, it's a day now. Like, we can't go one day without someone with some EA further digging their hole with what they've done to Star Wars Battlefront 2, as far as the progression loot box system that they got going on, which many are saying is gambling and wrong and very predatory, targeting kids who will buy the franchise, the casual gamers, and things like that. If you didn't know, of course, over the weekend, a lot of people go into Reddit to post their thoughts on Battlefront 2. These are people who got it early via the EA access, so they got their early copy a week before everybody else. The game, as of right now, of this podcast, still hasn't been released. It comes out tomorrow. So yeah, 90 hours to unlock Luke Skywalker or Darth Vader if you don't unlock anything else along the way, upgrade any other star cards. 90 hours.
I did hear they that to like 15 hours or something like that.
Yeah. But still, 90. Look how far that they pushed it. Like I said, let me tell you the entire story before we get deep into this conversation, okay? 90 hours to do this, right? That alone is crazy. And then what does EA do after seeing the the craziness, they go to Reddit and decide to post what ends up being the worst, the most hated. As of right now, it's over 700,000 dislikes on Reddit. It is the most downvoted Reddit post ever in the history of Reddit. Not making that up. It starts off, the intent was to provide players with a sense of pride and accomplishment for unlocking the different heroes. As for cost, we selected initial values based upon data from the open beta and other adjustments made to milestone rewards before launch. Among other things, we're looking at average per player credit earn rates on a daily basis, and we'll be making constant adjustments to ensure that players have challenges that are compelling, rewarding, and of course, entertainable via gameplay. Then what happens? Monday comes around after this, and they say, okay, we're listening to your feedback. And they drop the price of the characters by 75%, which means now it only takes 15 hours a piece to unlock Darth Vader or Luke Skywalker. Again, if you've not unlocked anything else along the way.
And apparently you can't unlock both of them. You can only unlock
one of them. That's right. And then EA decides to have an AMA. If you don't know what an AMA is, that's an Ask Me Anything on Reddit. And they were viciously attacked by players wanting to know why there is a time gate on earning credits via the arcade mode. And EA says, oh, that's to make sure people don't abuse the mode to earn credits. But they're okay with people paying a buttload of money for them, let me tell you that.
Yeah, you can just go ahead and pay for the credits and have them right away, yeah.
And even after they did the cutbacks, are you ready for this? Even after they did all of the cutbacks to unlock every single item in the game, every single star card, and upgrade them, it would take, are you ready for this? Over $2,100, or 4,000 hours, over 4,000 hours to unlock everything in the game. This is something that we see in free-to-play mobile games. Yeah. Free-to-play mobile games. Wow. All right. Now, of course.
Yeah, they don't know who
there's more controversy that's came out, and today EA says they're working on the loot box problem because investors have said that they don't like the controversy surrounding around the Star Wars game. Investors have actually came out talking that they don't like, and it may end up hurting their future bottom line and things like that. So they don't like this controversial move, and EA has come out and said that they're trying to fix it even more. They have came out and said this will be changing periodically over time, that it may always change. It'll constantly be changing and tweaking and things like that. So it's a crazy time for Star Wars right now, but it doesn't end there, because the Belgium government
that comes into play what you were saying too, where EA maybe could use the Star Wars franchise. They're making people that mad about it.
Yeah. Then it goes even further though. The Belgian government is investigating not only EA for Star Wars Battlefront, but also Overwatch, claiming that they may, in Belgium, be violating the gambling commission, that they're violating gambling guidelines in their country. This could result in millions of dollars of fines. It could also result in the removal of games from their shelves and a ban from any upcoming titles from those publishers. So, the Belgian government is investigating. This could also pressure other governments in Europe and America and UK, and it could pressure others to reevaluate and take a strong look at what constitutes as gambling and what doesn't. Of course, Belgium automatically dictates that anything that they already said that anything that is you're paying to unlock randomized items that go towards progression is considered gambling. Now, of course, Overwatch may be able to wiggle out of this because, as far as I know, all of their loot boxes are strictly cosmetic. So we'll just have to wait and see how that plays out and stuff.
But even if it's cosmetic, if it's randomized, you're paying for something you don't even know what you're getting. If you're even going to get what you want.
It's true.
You know what I mean?
But
so you buy this loot box and all it is a bunch of crap either that you already have or that you don't really want.
But EA's defense is that yes, even though you can there is the pay to method, there is also the method that everything you earn in game. So that's why it's not gambling. So like again, we'll just have to wait and see how it all plays out. Yes, it is true you can earn those in game, 4,000 hours worth as of right now.
That's crazy.
And you got a lot of people asking, why didn't you go the cosmetic route instead of the progression route? And you think that DICE is not worried right now, or that EA is not worried right now. They are very worried and trying to hustle to fix this and make it right, because this is the biggest backlash in gaming ever.
But ask Sins, are you buying Battlefront 2?
I don't know.
What did you say at the beginning of
I was considering it. I am considering it still.
That's the thing. Is it enough to discourage people from buying Battlefront 2?
Man.
I don't think so. I don't think it's enough to discourage. I think people are going to buy it anyways.
I think that people may buy it and get scorned, but with other titles releasing this year like Horizon Zero Dawn, Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice, Wolfenstein 2, the new Colossus, and a lot of games out there without these microtransaction hindrance, that it could hurt them. Maybe not this time around, but if they get burned enough this time around, it could hurt them.
It could hurt them in the future.
Next time around.
As of a couple hours ago, EA has removed their microtransactions from Star Wars Battlefront 2.
Oh, see.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
But they will be coming back. Once it says, quote...
What's the source on this?
But what about progression material?
What's that?
Stuff you need for progression and stuff.
I don't know. Just type it. Literally, Google Star.
From what I heard, they're looking to try to go more of a cosmetic route. It may take a long time to do, but they were talking about that earlier today. I seen that.
Here we go. Okay. All in-game purchases are now removed, with progression now exclusively tied to gameplay. EA is bringing back microtransactions at a later date, but not until the studio has time to make unspecified changes to the game.
Which means they're going to...
Gameplay takes forever to get it.
Yeah.
I had a quick question I wanted to ask.
They fix that part, you know.
They're going to be adding cosmetic microtransactions.
Yeah.
Is what's going to happen. Yeah.
I really have nothing really against.
You said you were talking about it takes 4,000 to pay to unlock everything.
No, $2,100 to unlock everything. 4,000.
No. Right, that's what I said. 4,000 hours. I was
4,000 hours. Yeah, 4,000.
So basically, they're saying that 4,000 hours of players' time is only worth $2,100, $2,100.
You know, it's crazy because right now, that is great news. I agree, Dags. Dags just wrote in. That's great news. But you know, I may if the progression thing gets fixed, I may buy Battlefront 2. I want to buy Star Wars games. I want to like Star Wars games.
Well,
I just don't want to like EA with it. That's the other thing. I kind of want to just not buy it on principle, so that I hope that the game goes somewhere else.
I know we were almost going to think they were starting to turn cool when they offered the DLC free and everything. But it's like, what good is that when you have all this other?
The big problem is that this is a full price title, and a lot of people have been saying on full price titles that, oh, it helps keep the servers on. What do I play PlayStation for? What do we play Xbox Live for? Isn't that what the servers are for?
Yeah, DICE has its own.
Just saying.
Something or EA has.
Well,
it uses.
Is that my fault?
But trouble is, look how much money is earned.
That's another thing too. Is me and Tilgar were estimating the license alone. You know, we were talking about Call of Duty, World War II, and its opening week made more than Wonder Woman and Thor Ragnarok combined.
Right.
In their opening.
And you don't think that the Star Wars franchise is going to be able to make a killing and sell enough copies to earn back the revenue that it made in the cost?
Right.
We're talking about the Star Wars franchise, so
it's like if you're going to do all
the Star
this
Wars franchise games doesn't hold up against Call of Duty.
If you're going to do all these microtransactions, then the game either needs to be free to play or it needs to be like $20 or something, not a $60 game.
Dax says, I'm getting it for PC. I like the beta so much. I wasn't worried about any of it. I think I'm in the minority, though. And to be fair, you are. But, you know, I wanted, when I started up the beta, I was so excited about buying the beta. I had already thought that they were going to do it like Battlefield 1, that maybe they won't screw this up. Maybe, like, I kind of knew the microtransactions were coming, but I didn't think it was going to be a progression thing. I thought it would be more like Battlefield 1. And then when I got it, you can ask Tech how disappointed I was. I was devastated.
Well, maybe it's Disney's plan. Hey, we'll leave EA to have it. They'll split up. Their stock prices will go down.
But
everything.
Now, even if it's getting fixed, I'm wondering, should I buy it? Because we know what their end goal is. We know what their end game is. We know what they want to do with the franchise. Do I want to support that, or would I rather see Star Wars go to independent, not necessarily independent developers, but select chosen developers, trusted developers, like going on with the Marvel games, like Insomniac getting Spider-Man, and Crystal Dynamics over at Square Enix getting the Avengers series, and
also like it could happen, like EA could, like you mentioned. I mean, like I don't know if you've seen where Disney's actually shut down the Marvel Heroes game.
Yeah.
That actually just this year came to Xbox and PS4, like back in June.
Yeah.
And here it is November, and they are shutting the game down because of controversies. I mean, it's not related to microtransactions as far as I know.
And don't get me wrong,
sexual misconduct.
I'm sure there's a contract there. Like EA paid a lot of money to work with the Star Wars franchise. I'm sure. But they're making hand over fist already back. You know what I mean? So, like,
right.
Can Disney say, all right, I know you paid us money, but what you're doing with the franchise is against... There might be a clause.
Just taking ruining the rep of the Disney Star Wars name. Maybe
by bringing it, by tarnishing
we can
the controversy.
Like franchises, McDonald's franchise. Well, if you're not doing this or doing something against that hurts the image of the franchise, then we can take away your franchise.
What do you think about Belgium's approach to investigating?
Yeah.
I think so.
Do you think do you think that carries an influence over surrounding countries or other countries?
Maybe it's going to be hard in the United States because the lawyers are going to go, well, you can go into Dave & Buster's and you see these items that you can put quarters in and try to get these items with the claw. Isn't that gambling?
Yes.
Yeah.
But really. Did you pay $60 to stand in front of the claw machine?
Well, you could if you're looking for a certain item. You can
no, I meant like just to stand. No. I'm talking just to stand there.
Yeah, he's talking about just standing in front of the.
Like you've already Star Wars itself is $60, and then you're putting quarters into the machine.
I agree with that, but when you're going to gambling issue, they're going to separate that gambling game itself. Is it truly gambling or not?
I think it is because of the value of the items over time, especially if it's progression.
Well, not just those claw machines. a lot of those quarter machines and stuff, you got a random chance of getting junk. But again, they're only
Now-
like a quarter or
now,
50 cents. You know.
Tilgar, I'll agree with you
No,
about
those
that.
are actually $1 or $5.
I'll agree with you about the cosmetics. I think it would be very hard to prove that cosmetics were gambling. But as
Yeah,
far
cosmetics
as
would be hard. Be hard.
but as far
But I'm
as
saying
progression, advantages in the game,
So, I think it'd be long and drawn out that way. If to convict it,
I think
it'd be a long drawn out process.
if they absolutely, I mean, just absolutely just have to have microtransactions in some form, I think really the best way to do it is to sell specific things for a certain price, like kind of like an online store, where if you want something, you can pay, like, say, $1 to get this skin,
Yeah,
and you get that skin. You don't randomly get whatever skin. You get the specific skin you want.
the specific game,
And that's
skin you
it.
want.
Just no gambling involved.
Which,
no random.
not to dog on Ubisoft, because Ubisoft does have microtransactions in their games, and Assassin's Creed Origins does have microtransactions in their game. But you can outright buy the unicorn skin and the mummy skin and get the skins that you want. Even though
Yeah, I'd compare it to CS:GO.
I'm not happy that they're
without
there
doing random cases.
without doing random cases. They have a random case,
But
but
isn't that better?
also have
Because then
everything
you at
listed
least
out.
you know what you're. I'm sorry. I don't mean to interrupt you, but like. But isn't that in a way better, at least? Because at least then you know exactly what you're paying for and what you're going to
I
get.
think it's better for. It's definitely better on the consumer satisfaction and relationship policy.
Because if you just like absolutely have to have a certain skin, how many times are you going to buy a loot crate to try to get that one skin you're wanting and not get it?
Oh, I know, man.
Whereas you can just go on there and buy it, like, oh, it's right there, I'll buy it. You know.
Think about CS:GO. Think of how many thousands, millions of dollars people are trying just to get the skin that they want.
Right. Exactly. Whereas you could just pay $1.99 or.
I would think
like that to
CS:GO
get the
has to be
skin.
by far the biggest gambling, at least that
Yeah.
I can think of.
Yeah, I think we're starting to see PUBG gambling sites and H1Z1 gambling sites pop up too, because you can sell those on the Steam store. You can actually sell those items for cash value money. But yeah, I get what you're saying. It's more gambling on CS:GO because you can sell the items, whereas in Star Wars you can't sell the progression item. But however, for as long as that server's up, you do have a value of progression of status over newer players. So
True.
It's a crazy thing. Okay, I'm gonna get this one more
You see what Dad
comment in here.
chat?
That's what I'm getting ready to put it. One
okay.
more comment in here before we move on. One thing I thought was 100% bullshit was the Battlefront 2 loot. They can duplicate items. Yeah. And you have to break those items.
yeah.
You break down the duplicated items.
That's
See, they
the
fill
other
it up with duplicated items to make the grind more. You know what I mean?
And that's the thing I'm talking about too. With if you're buying the loot crate and getting random stuff, you might be paying for something that you already got, and you might
Or
do
something
the
that
same
you don't
thing over and over
want.
again. Right. Well, you might not want it because you already had it. You got it like 20 times now.
Or you're
still
like,
getting that one.
or you're
you
like,
wanted.
that's not the class I want to play. I want to play this class. Why am I getting shit for this class? I'm pissed.
Right.
That was one of the problems I had with Destiny 2. Of course, this wasn't a microtransaction, but playing that what is it? The raid that was 10 hours long or whatever, and getting to the end of it, and me being a hunter, and my loot piece was for a big heavy metal person, and I was so pissed that I broke the game and said I wasn't.
And maybe that was a test. That was a test, like doing it without actually using money. Testing to see how.
Oh, yeah,
people
I'm
would,
sure it
like,
was.
react to it, and then like, oh, okay, well now let's see if we can start charging for it.
Oh man, I'll tell you what, it's just bad. And a lot of the reviews have been kind of they've been kind of so. Like, the game is pretty and it works well and all this other stuff, but it's been getting 6 out of 10s and 7 out of 10s because of the overly confusing loot box stuff and how you upgrade the start on Battlefront 2. And how to upgrade the cards and stuff. It's just overly confusing and it gets in the way of enjoying the game. So, and I saw where on Metacritic it was holding it as like a 75, 77. But guess what the player that was out of 27 reviews, by the way, because a lot of people have been putting off reviewing the game until the system works out or gets fixed. But guess what the user score was out of like 43,000 or something like that.
What?
The user score was 1.
Wow.
On Metacritic. Yeah. So, yeah, the consumer's not happy. And I think it's important to have these conversations because we see them, we see them doubling back on them. So it's the same thing with Xbox One. When they first announced Xbox One and all the DRM problems, we had conversations about it. We said that we didn't like this as a community, and guess what? That's not this. Today's Xbox One is not the same Xbox One that was announced. It's not their, they totally 180'd on all of that. That's why I think it's important to have these conversations, because the more you have them.
When you say 180 on that, that's not necessarily a bad thing. Like, oh, they chickened
No.
out.
It's not a bad thing at all.
Yeah, it's a good thing. Well, I know that's what you meant. I was just kind of clarifying in case anybody thought like, oh, they shouldn't have backed out. No, it's a good thing.
No, we want the games to be good. Yeah. That's what is important about having these conversations. To the things that we don't want in the games don't end up in them, and that's why this. Right. But listen, that being said, it is not cool to go on, and I don't care if it is a shit developer, if it's the worst piece of shit ever, EA, whoever. A lot of these devs, a lot of these developers don't have no say in whether their game has microtransactions or what kind of system it has or whatnot. Some of them do, but not all of them. Okay?
And a lot of them were getting death threats.
That's what I'm saying. That's not cool.
That's not necessary.
That's like, not cool.
It's a video game. Like,
I understand you're mad. Everybody's mad. I understand you're frustrated. And that's why we're having these conversations, is so that we can get things fixed or get EA to hear us and be like, you know what? I don't think our customer base is pretty happy about this. But sending death threats is not cool. No matter what, that makes the community look really, really bad when you're sending death threats because you don't get to play as Darth Vader in your game. Just saying. I want to put that out there. But who thought that was a good idea, that you couldn't play Luke Skywalker or Darth Vader at the, in Star Wars? One of the biggest Reddit posts was I paid $90 for the bonus edition Star Wars, whatever, unlockable, the big Star Wars edition, and I can't play Luke Skywalker or Darth Vader. Great. Who thought that was a good idea? Who would I pick first? I'd pick Darth Vader.
Oh, Imperial all the way. I loved one thing I was disappointed in is they made it seem like you were playing completely from the Imperial perspective in this game, when reality is, well, for the campaign. When
Don't
in reality
spoil it.
Is, oh, I'm sorry.
It's not out yet. The game comes out tomorrow.
Yeah, don't spoil it for me.
Go ahead,
Have you already played it? Have you already played it?
No. I watched someone play it.
Oh, okay. Well, don't spoil it for the rest of us.
I'll go for
Even
it,
if
man.
we are gonna buy it, we might buy it, GameStop secondhand for like $10.
Sheesh, man. Sheesh.
That's what I did with Battlefront 1. I bought it for $10 at GameStop like a year or so after it came out. Got it for $10.
Xbox One X.
And then they put all the DLC.
Oh, by the way, Stando,
Yeah.
$10.
the PlayStation 4 Metacritic reviews down to 0.8.
Is it really?
It's not even one.
It's not even
Not
one.
even one.
Not even
Wow.
0.8.
The PlayStation 4 Pro? Is there
The PlayStation 4 reviews, user reviews.
Yeah.
So. For Battlefront 2.
Oh, for Battlefront 2. Yeah. I thought you meant for the PS4 itself. Like
No. Come on. Yes,
okay. Let's say
for Sony to throw out a trash system, it's just got to be. We went to the trash can out here on the system, threw it on the table. Here you go.
By the way, speaking of like microtransactions and stuff, does it seem like Twitch is kind of getting microtransaction-y?
Why you say that?
Which?
But except, although I guess it's kind of different. It's not like Twitch
I think it's it's not a paid service, it's a free service.
Yeah.
And I think they
and all
just
the paid stuff's optional, so
and it helps keep the content creators around, because if there wasn't a monetized system at all, then the content creators.
Oh, you're
many
talking
of
about
them would leave.
subscriptions and bits and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
I
not.
think that was pretty cool because that helps the
Yeah, it's helping as a
content producer.
streamer.
yeah, it's like microtransactions being used for good.
Well, I don't really look at that.
Because like once I can like start affording it and stuff, I want to like start buying like bits, like actually having like buying them so I can have a bunch of them and stuff, and paying for subscriptions and stuff.
Yeah.
Like those are like microtransactions I want to do.
Yeah, I hear you. I see the point. I mean, yeah, you could look at it like that.
Mean it like I was just like it's like, but I've noticed that they've like put like these things on here, which like you said, they're good because they help support the content creators, because most of the majority of content creators on Twitch are smaller people who aren't really getting a lot out of it. So the more that can help them, the better, really.
Yeah. All right, let's move on, guys. Let's talk about Xbox One X. It is out. If you didn't know, it is outpacing the PS4 Pro, but not the. Notice the specific wording there. It's outpacing the PS4 Pro as the console
It, what does
living
that
room.
mean exactly?
It's selling more than the PS4 Pro.
But that's currently, but not necessarily.
No, that's
overall.
in the same launch window. Like you look at the PS4 Pro's launch window, and you compare that like to the Xbox One X launch window.
Gotcha.
So it is outpacing the PS4 Pro in sales, which means
So it's sold more in the same amount of time,
right,
like in a certain amount of time that you would compare it to the PS4 Pro.
Right.
Gotcha.
and that's what I mean. But is Xbox using this sneaky sold out trick to enforce more hype around their console and to get players to buy more? It turns out that they may be. What do you guys think about that?
What's that?
Using the sneaky sold out trick, like, we're sold out. We have limited supply, and now we're sold out. So the console must be really, really good. So
Because they didn't make enough, basically, is why.
yeah, or they're holding some in a warehouse.
They're holding it back as them, and then all of a sudden they'll release more to the stores. That
It's to build hype around the console.
which means, oh look, this is a hot Christmas item, and it's sold out right now.
Yeah.
And but our stores are expecting a shipment of it in next weekend. So what happens is people go, well, this must be good. It's going to be a good Christmas gift, and now they're piling up to make sure they're one of the first ones to get the Xbox. So that's what Stan was talking about.
Right.
And that's been done in not just for Xbox, but products.
Yeah, Nintendo does that all the time.
They not just for games and stuff like that. They're dolls.
Right.
Whatever the hot item is, sometimes they make an item hot by just limiting the supplies. Because if they see something trending, hey, this is trending, we'll step up production, but we'll hold up the production and feed it out in piecemeal, so it brings hype and keeps it relevant.
That's kind of like you remember Furby, right? Tech.
Mm-hmm.
That was the whole thing. You remember you couldn't go to the store to buy a Furby. Well, that's because the supplies were limited. Because if for years they would limit it they create high demand by not putting out the full supply.
By limiting the supply.
Exactly.
So, what do you guys think about that practice?
I don't think it's right, but it's a practice that's been done for years in retail.
Yeah.
So I kind of
it's not anything new. Like
it's not like they're the only ones. It's not like they're only
like that. Especially like now, pretty much every.
They'll have to do a limited supply just to make it more valuable and more wanted. And
well, what about for years now? How like almost every comic that comes out has multiple covers. So. Like just about every comic.
Right.
Remember when that used to be more of a rarity?
Yeah.
Well, the trouble is it can bite you in the ass because that's what happened in the comics, 80s and 90s.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You know, now they made so many of those comic books. You know, you go and buy a comic book from the 80s and 90s, it's not worth it.
Right.
Since
80s not so bad, but yeah, it was kind of getting there in the 90s.
No, 80s too. I'm telling you.
I mean, but there are a few.
There are a few, but you look at comic books from the 60s.
Yeah, because they were rare. They didn't have as many comics. But you know, the funny thing is in the Golden Age that it was similar. Like in the Golden Age, they used to make millions and millions of copies. Like they flooded the market in the Golden Age. But the thing is back in those days, in the Golden Age days, people did. Right,
they're really a nickel.
Just throw them away, and people would throw them away like newspapers. So even though they had millions of copies, very few of them those copies survived to today.
Yeah, but come about the late 90s, because the saturation of the comics in the 80s, 90s, comic sales.
But people would keep them, so there's still millions of copies around, so they're not rare.
Yeah.
Right. Let's find out what Sins thinks about the limited supply trick to raise demands. He's been awfully quiet. Let's hear from him.
I mean, I don't personally think it's definitely not bad. I don't think it's bad.
Sketchy.
A little, yeah. They're trying to create a false demand. I mean,
yeah. Well, it's not really a false demand. They're creating a high demand that's very real, but it could be supplemented with proper supply.
Yeah, true.
So,
I mean, I look at it. I mean, it's been a business practice for years. It's something that I expect, so it doesn't upset me because I don't like the practice, but they're not the only company's done it. It's been out there for years.
Okay.
Businesses do that to increase their profit.
Okay. Well, let's move right along. Did you guys hear about Skyrim multiplayer blocked by Bethesda? Basically, there is this team that has been working on a multiplayer mod for a very, very, very long time, and even though Bethesda is going to let them release it, and they plan on releasing it, they're not allowed to release it on the Steam Workshop page because Bethesda doesn't want it released there. Probably because it will interfere with one of their future mods or take away from sales from ESO or something like that. Anyway, I'm sure Bethesda has their reasons for not letting them release it on Steam, but they're going to let them release it anywhere else they want to. That you're allowed to mod the game. We encourage that and hope it's awesome. But the problem it's creating for the developer that it's going to take more time and delay the project because they were actually hoping to release it in the next few weeks and use the Steam servers and the Steam API to make it work. And now they have to build a whole custom API and server for the game. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, I mean,
it's property of Bethesda. That's.
I don't get why they think it'll interfere with their game. ESO and Skyrim multiplayer, they would be nothing alike. I mean, nothing like they're two completely different games.
Right, because Skyrim multiplayer would be basically taking Skyrim as it is and just adding multiplayer.
You're not thinking about as in, could this be a future platform that instead of maybe thinking about doing?
Yeah, that's true.
Like,
that's true.
They could add multiplayer to their game. And hey, remember,
Or do a multiplayer Skyrim. They don't want that in competition to their titles.
I hear you. Let Tech finish.
Stan, remember how I once mentioned, what if you had like Fallout as it was, but then just added multiplayer to it? That's basically kind of like what these people
I
are
still
doing with
agree with what I said. I think it's a bad idea. I
So
mean,
you
maybe
wouldn't wanna play this. You
not on my.
want to play Skyrim with the multiplayer mod of it.
Now, if Skyrim was a new game and it was my first playthrough, no. But a second playthrough, third playthrough.
Well, see, see, there you go. Yeah,
I don't know, maybe.
You could still play it by yourself and then go back and play it again with a friend. You know, that would actually be really cool, don't you think?
Yeah.
You know, like once you've got your single player experience out of it, then go back and it's still the same game, but now you get to experience it in a different way with somebody else. But play the same.
I think it's cool.
Everything.
I think it's cool that they're still going to allow them to release the mod. But, you know, unfortunately for the dev team, this was the big thing, is they have to rework their API and stuff. What do you guys...
I think they could save time, though, by going with maybe, say, Amazon Web Services or something, because Amazon Web Services has multiplayer platform and stuff on it.
Maybe. I don't know. But how much does this appeal to you guys? This mod? Like, if this mod comes out...
I would definitely play it.
Yeah, I would try it out, definitely.
Okay. Stins would definitely play it.
Oh, yeah.
I would too.
And Togar, you haven't played Skyrim at all yet, right?
Yeah, so I can't.
Oh, really? Togar, you haven't played it at all? I'm late. I just started.
I've got the game. I bought it on. It's in my stack, you know.
It's in your future to-do list, right?
It's also not a big deal that it's not going to be on Steam because most of the mods aren't on Steam.
The best.
That's
mods
true.
aren't on Steam
The best mods
No,
aren't
they're
on
all
Steam.
from Nexus mods, is what they're all coming from. So it's not a big deal to me.
Yeah, I think the biggest deal was...
But they'll still get it out.
Yeah, exactly. I think the biggest deal is that it wasn't going to be able to use the Steam API, which would be convenient for us users and would be convenient for them to design around. But,
right.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not mad about it. You know, I mean, I mean, it kind of stinks because, you know, Bethesda's doing that, but I understand why they're doing it too. And I know some people have gotten mad at Bethesda lately for some of the things they're doing, but I find it hard to get too mad at them, you know what I mean? I mean, yeah, they're doing this Creation Club stuff with paid mods and everything, but they're not cutting off the free mods. You know, and the content is just not there for the paid mods anyway. It's like there's, you know, if you've ever gone and looked at the Creation Club, there's not much there. And so it's not like, you know, I don't feel like it's hurting the modding at least this point in time, as long as they don't change, because you know how microtransactions started off too. Oh, it's not a big deal, it's cosmetic only, and you know where that went. As long as they don't do anything like that, you know, like all of a sudden, like, oh, it goes to like, okay, no more free paid, you know, the way they're doing it now, I don't think it's like hurting. It is kind of irritating because keep doing updates now though that keep messing up with the Skyrim script extender for special edition. They keep having to keep that updated every time they put out a new version, an update to Skyrim special edition now. So there is that, but I still think, like, I mean, yeah, Bethesda's games are kind of buggy, you know, so they do rely a lot on them to fix those bugs, quote unquote, for them, you know. But I can't find it myself to be that mad at them about stuff, you know. You know what I mean?
And for the size of the games that they make, the open world of their games, you have to expect bugs. They cannot play test every area.
I think that they need a new engine though. It's time for them to, like, this engine's old. Even though they've updated this, it's the same engine that they've been using since Morrowind.
Oh, this is something else though. Actually, because you brought that up with Stan. the engines and stuff. It's not like it's that easy though to come up like with every new game a brand new engine.
Oh, I know.
So it's more of having to update the previous one because of how you don't want to necessarily have to start completely.
I agree, but
He's saying,
it takes to.
I agree.
This Morrowind, it's about time
But it's been around exactly. This one is old enough that it is time for a new engine build and
I
not
would
just to
love to see
update
more
it.
games with Frostbite.
Because this has been around since Morrowind, which came out in what 2004.
But it's been updated quite a bit since then because
2003. Yeah, it's been updated quite a bit. And I'm not saying it didn't look good in Fallout 4, but Fallout 4, we did notice a lot. Like,
it could have been so much better. With
it could have been so much better with a new
updated-
engine instead of an updated new engine because now the engine.
Yeah, I guess once they start hitting limits to out of those limits anymore.
We're hitting our limit,
I
and
see what you're saying.
we're really starting to see the age of the engine. And no matter how much more that they continue to update the engine, it's going to have the same flaws unless they build a new one. And I think that's why they put off saying we're not making a new Elder Scrolls 6 anytime soon.
And maybe they are going to update the engine before they, come up with the next one, which would be good.
I mean, even Call of Duty,
Trying to do that.
even the Infinite War engine, which all the Call of Duty games have been using since the Call of Duty Modern Warfare, they've updated quite a bit. World War II looks fantastic, right? So,
But it's still the same engine.
but it's still the same engine that they've updated over time. So,
Granted, it wasn't that. It's not like it's that buggy of an engine because it did work, pretty well in the old games. But yeah,
have you played the old games?
The
They're
point.
buggy as fuck. That's what
I
I'm
have
saying.
played the old games.
Even Skyrim.
Yeah.
Well, no, I was talking about Call of Duty. Yeah.
Oh,
Skyrim is buggy as hell.
I thought you were
See,
talking about
that's
like.
why I use bug fixing mods though for Skyrim, but even that can only go so far. because-
I thought you were talking about the Bethesda games. I'm like, if you
No,
don't
no,
played
no,
any of
no,
the past
no.
ones, those games are buggy.
No, I was talking about Call of Duty. No, the Bethesda. Because like the modders like have done a really good job on fixing a lot of the bugs that Bethesda didn't fix, but even that can only go so far as well because they get to the point where they reach the limits of the engine and that no matter how much they try to fix it, you just can't fix it because it's a problem with the engine itself.
I can just imagine how much potential a new Fallout game would have with a new engine.
Right. I agree, Sins. I agree.
Something like I would.
And maybe with the newer engine, there wouldn't be as many bugs in large open world games if they made a newer engine. I mean, it would still have bugs, but maybe they could do some. Because, well, look at, you guys are playing Assassin's Creed Origins and stuff, and that's like a huge open world game.
Oh,
but
it's
it has
beautiful.
bugs, right?
It does, but this is a new engine for them too. They're
Which engine
using.
was
Still
this one?
has- it still
Yeah,
has
they've
bugs,
switched
so
over to the
probably-
Snowdrop. That's why the gameplay and everything's so different. They switched over to the
It's like
Snowdrop.
I don't. In my playthrough, I'm playing right now as we speak. I do not think I've seen a bug yet.
I haven't
I
either.
could be wrong. I have
Well,
not
that's
noticed
cool.
any
Well,
bugs.
That's good.
I mean, I've noticed.
But-
I've had
and
one
I'm sure
bug
that there's
where
not many.
I've had one bug that's happened to me repeatedly. It's the one where I don't know if the textures are slow to load or whatever, but like you'll be like riding the horse through the town, and then all of a sudden the whole game will pause for a few seconds, and then it'll keep going. But it doesn't happen often. It doesn't happen all the time, but I've ran into it a few times.
But my point is that if they came out with a new engine for like the next Elder Scrolls games, that there'd probably still be like some bugs in there, especially if it's a huge game.
Every game's gonna have
But
bugs.
it might reduce the number of bugs than if they keep using the same engine.
I don't think that's it. I think it's reducing, like changing how the mission structures work, because we've seen this same mission structure over and over again. Also, how ugly some of the NPCs can look at times. They really, really do. Or their animations are bad and things like
Dax
that.
brought up a good point, because Skyrim, if you run it faster than 60 frames per second, It causes
There you go. Yep.
havoc issues and stuff.
So you need a new engine that can run on any FPS. Yeah, I agree with that as well.
That's true. Yeah. Because I don't know if the same issue occurs with Fallout 4. You can't go over 60 frames per second on it without. Well, you know what? Even when I played it originally on PS4, and that was locked to 30 frames per second, and there were still some physics bugs even at 30 frames per second. It's like you'd hear I was hearing this weird noise. I'm like, what the hell is this noise? And it was like this skeleton like just freaking out. Like,
can't go over 72 frames per second in Fallout 4.
Oh, 72. Okay, so it's higher than Skyrim, but still only 72.
So yeah, that's huge problems with those games. I got one more topic, guys, before we jump off of here, and I want to get to it because we're already running into a little bit of overtime. That's okay. This is normally outside of our realm as far as the topic goes, but it does involve some gaming, so I think it's important that we talk about it. Russia's Ministry of Defense released startling visual proof this morning that the United States military is assisting ISIS. The only problem with Russia's claims, the photographic evidence actually came from a video game. Russia's MOD posted the claims on Facebook and Twitter, saying that the images showed the U.S. had categorically refused to carry out airstrikes against ISIS terrorists, claiming that the militants were voluntarily surrendering and now fell under the provisions of Geneva Convention on the Treatment of Prisoners of War.
What? Yeah, but it was a video game.
Then, that's not it. Like, they went on to networks and said that proof that Americans are assisting ISIS.
What video game is this from?
AC-10 Simulator.
AC-10. What the fuck is that? I gotta look that up.
Did you play Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare?
Oh yeah.
You remember the AC-10 mission where you're helping the troops get out? That's what this whole game looks like. It's the black and white.
Based off of that one mission.
Yeah.
And so they are saying that the U.S. was helping ISIS.
Like, I know graphics are good in games,
but they're not that good.
So how do they thought nobody would notice this?
The Russian Defense Ministry said it's examining why a civilian employee attached the wrong photographs to the statement about the collusion between the U.S.-led coalition and the Daesh terrorist group in the area of Abu Khami town in Syria's Deir Zor province. The Russian government seems to be throwing some civilian employee under the bus for this, despite the fact that it seems like a difficult error to make. If you have a highly sensitive intelligence, it would be pretty damn difficult to mix that up with some video game footage found online. And if it wasn't just for American consumption, Russian TV ran the images as well.
Oh, wow.
Of course, this isn't the first time that Russia have used footage for their fight against ISIS, as that wasn't exactly what they claimed it was either. Russian President Vladimir Putin recently showed American filmmaker Oliver Stone some footage on a phone that he claimed was Russians fighting ISIS in Syria. In reality, the footage showed Americans fighting the Taliban in Afghanistan in 2009. Yeah, fake news. Fake news.
Lord, oh Lord, oh Lord.
What do you think, Togar? I know you got to chime in on this.
Russian intelligence gamers.
With the abundance of fake news out there, journalists have to go. They need to go above and beyond to, keep their ethics.
I wonder at this point,
what
though.
What happens is they don't need to go above and beyond. Is because news that comes out so quickly, they also want to be, I got to have this up there first. They don't do what they used to do and fact check their freaking images.
One of the things that I wonder, though, is we live in the day and age of the internet where information can travel in 3 seconds. There's a lot of Russians friends with a lot of people around the globe. A lot of Americans are friends with Russians. What do Russians actually think of their government leaders? When they, like, if you're in Russia, you're a Russian citizen, you're sitting there watching the news, you've got friends in America, you've got friends in the, like, and this comes on the air, and you're like, oh.
Probably like us when we see stupid shit on TV.
Yeah.
I'm thinking. I'm
They're
sure
probably not, yeah.
it's like they got people who believe 100% what their government's telling them too, you know? So, you know, I don't think they're much different from us.
No.
Now, when you talk a more closed system like North Korea, God knows what those people believe, because you know North Korea, everything's just peaceful.
Yeah, but in North Korea though, there's no outside influence.
That's what I'm saying. It's even China, a lot of their news are piecemeal to them too, so they don't get the full story. Now Russia, I know Putin tries to control as much as he can, but it's still an open society like the United States. So I'm sure they got people who think this is funny, some people who are disappointed, and then they got some people who just believe whatever they put out, you know. So.
I do want. Dag says he watches some Russian streamers on Twitch. See, yeah, I know it's in this day and age, like the world is a lot smaller than it used to be. I guess you can say in a sense, for the most part. And so, how Russia or any government tries to pull this type of shenanigans on their people is just baffling. Right. But anyway, guys, that's all I really had today. Anybody else got any final thoughts on today's broadcast?
I figured out how to pet a cat in Assassin's Creed.
Nice. Anybody else?
Oh, and
Go ahead. Go ahead, son.
You know what I did, but I forget.
I hate it when that happens.
Yeah.
Tilgar, final thoughts?
Nothing on me.
All right, man. Well, I appreciate all of our audio listeners listening on Podomatic or on the go. Again, you can download that MP3 by heading over to occasionaldilemma.com/podcast. Appreciate all the live Twitch viewers that we have here tonight. And I also appreciate everybody that's watched this reposting on YouTube. Until next time, guys, remember that we love your face. And we will catch you on the flip side. And until then, guys,
The flip side of what?
the flip side of the moon, the flip side of the
your
other
coin?
dimension of, that's exactly where we're going to be at, Tech.
You're going to flip the coin and you'll be on the other side of it?
Oh, yeah. I'll see you there, buddy. Have a good one, guys.